Hello! Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and ongoing custodians of the land. Today's episode was filmed on country. I pay my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and to elders, both past, present and emerging. I recognise that these lands were never ceded. Thank you for listening to today's episode, Dyslexia, a crash course for pre-service teachers. Because as a pre-service teacher, we know you are definitely short on time. Today's podcast was written in collaboration with Emily Marshall. Emily is a proficient teacher with a master's degree in inclusive and special education. She has held various positions in mainstream and special education environments from kindergarten to year 12. Emily is currently the head teacher of special education in the learning and support team. She wears many hats in her secondary school, but sure is a wealth of knowledge. I am passing on her apologies that she could not co-host the episode as originally planned, but I do thank her for sharing her knowledge nonetheless. Dyslexia is among one of the most commonly diagnosed learning disabilities globally and across all socioeconomic statuses, with 1 in 10 people diagnosed. So what exactly is dyslexia? I was recently in a room of third-year education students, and that exact question had been asked. Who knows what dyslexia is? 90% of hands shot up, including my own. The tutor paused. Who can tell me what exactly dyslexia is? Silence, possibly 3 hands half up, and the one answer was, it is when you struggle to read and write because words jumble. The presence of this diagnosis is evident in our society, but can this so casual approach of surface-level information be detrimental to our students? Dyslexia is part of a family of specific learning difficulties and is known as a language-based learning disability. As most of us know, dyslexia has a significant effect on a student's developing literacy ability. Emily has shared the most common initial indicators of dyslexia that tend to be noticed in the classroom. When it comes to reading, it is slow and laboured, but the student is still comprehending the content of the text. Or, swapping to the other extreme, the student is reading at age expectations, but is not comprehending the text at all. With written literacy work, students with dyslexia experience specific handwriting challenges. Working below with spelling, difficulties matching letters to sounds, writing letters in the wrong direction, forming letters not in the prescribed way, although if the job gets done, and difficulty sequencing their writing in order. Emily mentioned that when the quality of written work is not matching up to the student's oral language, that is a clear indicator that a step is missing in their staircase. It is well known that dyslexia impacts a student's literacy skills, and these impacts are usually clearer to spot than other behaviours which are indicating signs. Emily has shared some of the general behaviours that students with dyslexia present within the classroom, in her experience, such as difficulty recalling information, including facts, schedules, deadlines, and what word to use in conversation. This can make the student appear disorganised or forgetful. Emily has her master's in special education, but with a focus in emotional disturbance. A major priority in Emily's pedagogy is assessing the root cause of behaviours that students are displaying. Through this process, Emily has described that students with dyslexia can often appear switched off to teachers. Students with dyslexia can come across as tired, lacking motivation, concentration, and often mishearing instructions. This can create real frustration for the student if they aren't armed with an effective toolbox, as Emily described. This frustration can lead to even more significant and challenging behaviours in the classroom. Some of the initial indicators of dyslexia that I personally found the most interesting. As a person with very poor coordination myself, I couldn't catch a ball if my life depended on it. Students with dyslexia can often appear clumsy. They can confuse left and right. And a random indicator is that they use their non-dominant hand quite frequently, like to open a bottle top, or using their knife and fork in the wrong hands. Okay, so we're nearly at the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for listening this far. And as we often tend to unintentionally focus on the challenges and more negative aspects, let's end on a positive note. I asked Emily what are some strengths that students with dyslexia present with. Students with dyslexia are recognised to have great strength in the creative arts. So art, music, drama, dance, and all the other things in that sort of world. These students also present with strengths in technology and design and mathematics. Emily explained how essential it is not to generalise, but explore different facets of interest and areas for strengths for students with dyslexia. It is essential to provide as many authentic opportunities to engage with this content and provide an opportunity for these students to succeed in school. Not only to succeed academically, but to have the feeling themselves that they have succeeded. Well, thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you found some value in the conversation today, and a special thank you to Emily Marshall for taking the time from her schedule to share her expertise with us. Bye!